Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial, and in this one we're going to do feather crash. So I'm at the moment doing a game called I Hate Seagulls, and if you want to check it out you can find it on Steam, so check out the link in the description. And in that game I do the crash like this. So if you like the stars, that's the previous tutorial, and if you like the feathers, well, that's the tutorial you're in now. So when you do crash like this, well, that's the feathers that we're going to do. And I have set up another project so we can use it easier. So here, this is going to represent the bird. So here we do this kind of whenever it collides, it's going to crash. And this is what we're going to do. So let's get started. And first off, we're going to go into an empty scene. So first, we're going to create a VFX. So here we have a visual effect graph, and we're going to do the minimum system and just build it up. So it's going to be the 147 feather crash. Perfect. And here we have it. Perfect. We can do the scene down here so we see what's going on. So let's see. We can just remove these ones. We don't need them. And we can add the VFX to the scene. So now we have it here in the center. Perfect. And it's empty at the moment. But we can, here in the spawn system, we do, let's check out spawn here. And we find constant spawn rate. Perfect. Now we see this particle in the center here. So that's our particles, and well, let's see how we're going to do it. We're going to remove this output particle, unlit, and we instead going to do output particle URP lit quad. And actually, anyway, so you need to have this texture. I just made a feather here. It's like nothing really fancy about this feather, so that's what we're going to have. So just make it, and it's actually a PSD file, and that's super fine. You can have a PSD format, and we have the default dot here, but we're going to change that to, so in the properties we do, let's see here, texture 2D. So it's going to be the diffuse. And we're going to have in this one, we're going to have the feather. And if we save it, well, we need the feather to be in here. So now we have the feather. Perfect. So now we have a lot of feathers rendering above each other. So in the start here, we're going to, in the initialize section, here we can actually just change the capacity to 5,000. So we can have up to 5,000 feathers. And while we're at it, we can, in the properties, we do an integer, and this is going to be the feathers count. So I'm going to put it here, and we're going to, eventually, we're going to do a single burst here. So if we do single burst, we're going to have this to dictate how many feathers we're going to spawn. Because we're only going to spawn feathers in the beginning, but we're going to turn it off now and just have this one as debugging, so that's nice. And we don't want the feathers to live forever, so we're going to set lifetime half. So do set lifetime random, and I'm just going to do like 2 to 4, so it's kind of exist between 2 and 4 seconds. We're going to do set size random, and I'm actually going to have the randomness to be like 0.05, 0.05 to 0.2. So we have different sizes. Now you see it's stuff happening here, and that's nice. And we also want to set the position of them, because now they all only on the same position in the center of the VFX setup. So what you can do that we're going to use is set position shape. We're going to do a sphere. And let's open it up. And now you see they are spawning across this one. And the reason I want this one is because if we just do a 0.05, arc. Wait. I'm thinking wrong here. So leave this to the value it was, to 2 pi. And here we do the radius. This is what I'm looking for. So this is going to be 0.05. And now you see it's a tiny sphere. And the reason I want this is because, well, I'm going to show you and explain really quick. So if I do, if we take this one to, let's say, a little bit bigger, so you can understand what I'm thinking. So where is it? We want it to be... Here it is. So what we want here, we want... this is the center. And now each particle have a position. So if we use these position as directions instead, so we take each position and then we treat them like the velocity. So now they will continue forward in the same direction that they are placed, because we actually use the position as well as a direction. So that's why I use the sphere here. And then we're going to just use set velocity. So now if we take velocity and we do it after we set the position, then we can just, if we get the position, so here we set the position and down here we get the position. And if we normalize this one, now we normalize the position. So now the direction is normalized. So that's nice. And then we just do multiply. And we multiply this normalized direction. So first off, now you will see they are kind of going in a direction. So that's perfect. And we want it to be a little bit random. So we're going to do a random float. And if we multiply here, now we get different strength on them. And I want the one, it minimum be 1, maximum be 4. Now we have kind of different forces to it. So that's perfect. So I'm just going to move up it a little bit like this. So now that's kind of the initialize, and then down in the update section here, we're going to add a gravity. And the gravity is too strong. So we're going to decrease it to, let's say, -281. So now we have gravity, but it's a little bit slower. So it feels more like feathers. So that's nice. And we are also here going to add a turbulence above the gravity here. So now we can start to add a little bit more turbulence to the feathers. I'm going to do the intensity to be kind of 11. So now you see feathers are a little bit special when they fly because they adjust to the wind and stuff. So that this looks more like feathers kind of crash. Frequency 22 maybe. Yeah, you can play around with this stuff and see what happens. So this is nice. And the last part we're going to do is here in the output particle. So we want the feathers to just disappear. And the way to do this, we can just set multiply size over life. And now if we just go in here and do this one here, And then we take the point here and we do this to be a flat one. And yeah, so now it's gonna disappear much, not in a hard cut, but like being smaller and smaller. So that's nice. And the last thing, we're just gonna make sure that the orientation looks a little bit better. So what we can do, if we just do orient and we do the advanced, yeah, the orient is correct, but we're not going to use the advanced. Actually, we're going to just, let's see here. We're going to do the along velocity. So now you see they are actually following the velocity. So this is so much better. So this is the effect. So this is the more or less the same effect I have in my game when you crash. So this is super nice. And the last thing we're going to do to make it complete is up here. We're going to remove this constant spawn rate and we're going to do single burst because it's only going to burst one time. And the feather count, we can do a between 1 and 200, let's say. So we'd start with 69. And now we're kind of done. So if you, let's see, I can just maximize this one time so you can see it all. And we have this one, we have this part here. So this is everything. So we can actually just remove the constant spawn rate here and just have the burst. And here we set the lifetime, size, and the position. And we use the position to get a velocity with this part here, super nice. And then we do turbulence and gravity. And you can tweak these numbers to get it even better, of course. And then we have just a super simple shader and the size of lifetime and the velocity part. So we save this one and this is kind of finished. We're done with this one now. The last thing I'm just going to show you how I set up the script so it works. And where is this one? So whenever we press play here, yeah, you see it starts. We can actually do it like this too. So now it works. And if we just do like this, so each time it play, it's a crash. Perfect. And if we add, just to show you how I made this thing here. So we have this here, we have a play. So I'm going to show how to set up this really simple thing. More or less the same way I did in my game. And in the scene here, so first off, we just do this sphere. And this is going to be the bird temp mesh. Well, we can call it temp bird. That's going to be nice. And we're going to make sure it's a little bit smaller. We're going to put it in center here. It's up here. We're going to have it down here. That's fine. So what we want to do, we want to trigger the collision. And I have this feather crash here. So what's happened is when the collision is stronger than 5, then we're going to spawn a crash feather stuff. So if we leave it down here and play, the crash won't be hard enough, so we won't trigger any effect. And it's pretty easy. We have this prefab to spawn. That's going to be our VFX. And we have the minimum collision force. And we use this on collision enter. And we just check the collision thing, the thing we collide with. We just check the relative velocity magnitude. And if the crash magnitude is stronger than the value we set here, then we're going to spawn, instantiate our prefab. So yeah, that's going to be nice. And we have our feather. This is our feather crash here. So we need to make a prefab of this one because we're going to spawn it. And we're going to kill the VFX setup. So after 5 seconds, we're going to kill this VFX setup. So if we check out this script here, we have when it starts, when it's is created, then after 5 seconds, we're just going to destroy it. So it's a really simple script. So we have the feather here, and if we just drag it here, so now we have it as a prefab here. So we can call it prefab. And we have our, let's see, here is our bird. And then we just take the prefab here, and now we play. And it doesn't work. And the reason is because the bird needs to have a rigid body. So rigid body. And here we have it. And we're also gonna change the collision detection to continuous. Then it's a much better collision, so it won't accidentally fall through the plane. So let's start. And now it works. So here you have it. Now you can use this to all your cool projects. So yeah. And of course, if you don't want to go through everything here, you can just go to my Patreon site and go through this file yourself. You're going to see the exactly same file or scene that I'm using here over there. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in another tutorial.